What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react to some of the things that several world leaders actually said about Donald Trump at the recent World Economic Forum. And, based on some of the stuff that I've already seen and heard about this event, they did not hold back. And I know that the Prime Minister of Canada's speech was almost entirely about how the world doesn't need the United States or Donald Trump. So I'm actually really, really curious to take a look at this video and see how some of these world leaders really feel about Donald Trump. So let's take a look.
This will be an interesting trip. I have no idea what's going to happen, but you are well represented.
Let me put this in words you might understand. Mr. President, fuck off.
It seems that every day.
What? What? Did he really just say that? What? Can he do that? Can he just get up there and say that? I mean, I'm sure, to be completely honest, I think for a lot of people around the world, he's probably just saying what a lot of people are thinking about Trump, especially like with a lot of the recent things that are going on. And who is this, by the way? This is Anders Vistisen, Danish member of European Parliament. He's from Denmark. Okay, that makes sense. I still can't believe he said that. That's actually kind of shocking because this is like a really, really big, worldwide event where a lot of people are going to see it. And it's like, to say something like that, I wasn't expecting it. He's from Denmark, which has been literally the target of a lot of the Greenland stuff going on. And okay, let's keep going.
Mr. President, fuck off.
It seems that every day we're reminded that we live in an era of great power rivalry, that the rules-based order is fading, that the strong can do what they can and the weak must suffer what they must. And this aphorism of Thucydides is presented as inevitable, as the natural logic of international relations reasserting itself. And faced with this logic, there is a strong tendency for countries to go along to get along, to accommodate, to avoid trouble, to hope that compliance will buy safety.
Sure.
It won't.
Jeez. Well, that's like a little more thoughtful and eloquent than just saying Donald Trump F off. Oh my God. That's a little more, a little more nuance going on here. But I think, God. So basically, Mark Carney is saying that another thing that I'm pretty sure a lot of people are probably thinking around the world, that you don't have to live in a world where you have to just put up with Donald Trump and his decisions, like he gets to decide what's going to happen with because he's willing to do a lot of crazy threats and actually carry out, the tariff threats and the trade wars. And Carney's basically, this is a pretty brave thing to do, actually, to get up there and say, hey, he's basically talking to the world there and saying, we don't have to live like this. We don't have to put up with this. With Donald Trump, we can all work together and trade with each other and be successful and make a better world. And we don't have to kiss up to Donald Trump just because he's willing to do crazy things and to hurt us. Which I also yeah, I would think a lot of people would agree with this, but Mark Carney also had to know by saying this, Donald Trump already is not happy with Canada in particular. So it's pretty brave for him to get up on this stage and say all that, knowing now. Recently in the news, Trump. I heard Trump did respond to something Mark Carney said, and basically said like he's threatening Canada with 100% trade tariffs, and so there were repercussions for saying this. But I think it's pretty cool, actually, very respectable for him to get up there and say what he feels.
Compliance will buy safety. Well, it won't.
More than 60 wars in 2024, an absolute record, even if I understood a few of them were fixed. And conflict has become normalized, hybrid, expanding into new domains, space, digital, information, cyber, trade, and so on. It's as well a shift towards a world without rules, where international law is trampled underfoot, and where the only law that seems to matter is that of the strongest, and imperial ambitions are resurfacing. Obviously, the Russian war of aggression against Ukraine, which will enter into its 4th year next month.
Wow. Yeah.
And conflicts continue in the Middle East and across Africa. This is as well a shift toward a world without effective collective governance, and where multilateralism is weakened by powers that obstruct it or turn away from it, and rules are undermined. And I can multiply the examples of international bodies weakened or left by the key economies. And
why? It just feels like, listening to all these speeches, that all these world leaders are talking about how frustrated they are that government bodies or international organizations around the world aren't getting along as well, and the rule of law isn't being followed, and it honestly just seems like they are all specifically talking about the United States and Donald Trump. Without kind of like, it's funny because they're not just outwardly saying like, we're sick and tired of what Donald Trump is doing and the problems he is causing. But they're all talking about it. This is Macron, right? The Prime Minister of France, I believe.
when we look at the situation, it's clearly a very concerning time, because we are killing the structure where we can fix the situation and the common challenges we have. Without collective governance, cooperation gives way to relentless competition. Competition from the United States of America through trade agreements that undermine our export interests, demand maximum concessions, and openly aim to weaken and subordinate Europe.
Okay. He's not beating around the bush. He's literally openly saying it's the United States that's a big problem, causing a lot of damage to Europe. And I mean, to be honest, even, as an American, I can't deny reality like that. What he's saying is true and makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of Americans don't agree with a lot of stuff that Donald Trump has done recently. And it's actually really disturbing to see so many world leaders getting up at the World Economic Forum here, complaining about the United States and talking about how, they shouldn't have to deal with us, shouldn't have to live like this. It certainly shows me how far the U.S. reputation has fallen. I think a lot of Americans really don't quite understand, because a lot of Americans don't bother to watch stuff like this or listen to what other countries are saying about the US. And so there's Americans who just really don't realize how bad the US reputation is. Like, it's really bad. And this is just proving it.
Combined with an endless accumulation of new tariffs that are fundamentally unacceptable, even more so when they are used as leverage against territorial sovereignty.
Sure.
The European-
Yeah, sure. Yeah. The whole Greenland thing, he was getting at the end there, using like trade tariff threats as leverage to try to like force Greenland into a deal to be absorbed by the US against its will. And I mean, to be honest, there are just countless things that the US and Trump have done in the last year, and now 2026, it keeps going. If maybe it's getting worse. Maybe I shouldn't be so surprised that a lot of world leaders took this opportunity to really talk about this and really let everyone know what they think of the U.S. and Trump. This, you know, it's sad. It's for me, you know, as an American, because you know, I live in the U.S. I love the United States, and just like to see how upset everybody is with us. That's really sad for us.
Union and the United States have agreed to a trade deal last July. And in politics, as in business, a deal is a deal. And when friends shake hands, it must mean something.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we consider the people of the United States not just our allies, but our friends. And plunging us into a downward spiral would only aid the very adversaries we are both so committed to keeping out of the strategic landscape.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is I think it said the president of the European Commission. And she's, yeah, I mean, she's talking about how baffled she is that the United States is actively trying to hurt Europe when we are allies and we should be working together, for example, to protect the Arctic and Greenland, and instead of trying to fight each other. It's crazy. Absolutely, totally agree.
So our response will be unflinching, united, and proportional.
In 1978, the Czech dissident Václav Havel, later president, wrote an essay called The Power of the Powerless. And in it, he asked a simple question: how did the communist system sustain itself? And his answer began with a greengrocer. Every morning, this shopkeeper places a sign in his window: "Workers of the world unite."
Okay.
He doesn't believe it. No one does. But he places the sign anyway to avoid trouble, to signal compliance, to get along.
Mark Carney was really talking a lot about how frustrated he is, clearly, at trying to appease Donald Trump, trying to keep him happy, because I can see where that would be so incredibly annoying. We have enough problems here in the US that Donald Trump causes, but if there was another country, another powerful country, who had a leader like Donald Trump, and they were doing all of the stuff that he is doing to us, I mean, it would drive us insane. We would hate it. I think since we are the US, since we are the ones doing it, a lot of Americans don't really realize how frustrating dealing with Donald Trump is for the rest of the world. How he really, like, the decisions that we make have real consequences. And it feels like Europe and a lot of country, Canada, want to get along and want to, like, actually make a better future. and cooperate. And it just feels like the US is making it impossible, or Donald Trump is. So yeah, I actually like what Mark Carney is saying here. Basically telling everybody we don't have to pretend that we like Donald Trump. We don't have to pretend like we care about that, like keeping him happy, because it's impossible. And Donald Trump has openly stated that all he cares about is what's best for the United States, not like what's best for the world. So, I think these are really like, it's weird to say from my perspective as an American. You know, I want what's best for the US, but I also want what's best for the world. It'd be nice if our president did.
And because every shopkeeper on every street does the same, the system persists. Not through violence alone, but through the participation of ordinary people in rituals they privately know to be false.
Wow.
Havel called this living within a lie.
The lie. So, like, everybody acting like they can get along with the US or get along with Trump is just like, it's bogus. It's a lie. It's jeez.
The system's power comes not from its truth, but from everyone's willingness to perform as if it were true.
Wow.
And its fragility comes from the same source. When even one person stops performing, when the greengrocer removes his sign, the illusion begins to crack.
Cause I know Donald Trump was really, really upset about this speech in particular, and you can see why. you can see why this made Donald Trump really upset.
Friends, it is time for companies and countries to take their signs down.
This guy's playing folks for fools, and it's embarrassing.
Europeans think this is diplomacy, and this will ultimately
This is
work.
diplomacy with Donald Trump? He's a T-Rex. You mate with him or he devours you. One or the other.
And Europe's being
People
devoured?
need to stand. No, the Europeans could be if they continue to put them down this path and process. And
So this is Gavin Newsom, governor of California, actually. Was he at the World Economic... Oh, yeah, he's at the World Economic Forum. So this is actually a U.S. politician, which there are plenty of U.S. politicians who are against Donald Trump. He is vocally, vehemently against Donald Trump, and he's kind of like echoing what a lot of the European and Canadian world leaders said, that you shouldn't have to put up with the Donald Trump style of negotiation, like appease me or I'll kill you. Like, and of course that's outrageous.
need to stand tall, stand firm, stand united. I don't want to be hyperbolic about it, but this guy's a wrecking ball. I hope people are waking up to what we're dealing with. This is it's code red. I mean, you guys are still playing by all set of rules. Everybody, the globe is with this guy. He's unmoored. It's the law of the jungle. It's the rule of dawn. And I hope it's dawning on the world what we're up against.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, Donald Trump does not play by the rules. He'll say whatever he doesn't worry about. He doesn't worry about what anybody thinks. Like, he doesn't care if he insults world leaders, but if anybody insults him, tariffs. It's the end of, or threats or annexation or he certainly doesn't play by the rules. Threatening to take over Greenland. These are unprecedented time. Like, even for Trump, it's pretty unprecedented stuff. And I think that's what Gavin Newsom's kind of getting at here. Like, Trump has always been Trump and said and done pretty crazy stuff, but in the last year, I think it's really substantially like ramped up. And Gavin Newsom is like trying to sound the alarm on that, I guess.
I mean, this is serious. This guy is, he's not mad. He's very intentional, but he's unmoored and he's unhinged, and it requires you. The goal is whatever he wants it to be. The goal is the world in his image.
We have.
And I think, obviously, Donald Trump was elected president again. So at that time, a year ago, at least half of Americans voted for him. But I think now, like going into 2026, his approval ratings are clearly way down. And a lot of stuff that he has done internationally and here at home in the US, a lot of people who even voted for Donald Trump, I know, are really not happy.
A place where rule of law and predictability is still the rule of the game. And my guess is that it is largely underpriced by the market. Having a place like Europe, which sometimes is too slow, for sure, and needs to be reformed, for sure, but which is predictable, loyal, and where you know that the rule of the game is just the rule of law, it's a good place.
That's such a great point. That used to be the United States. That was like one of America's biggest strengths, that we were reliable, trustworthy, predictable, and like financially, you could invest in the United States, and it would be a good investment and a safe one, and you could make deals with the US and trade with us and be partners with us, and it was great for us and probably great for a lot of other countries. But now it's just like everything that made America great is like getting destroyed in a way. It's really very sad, like as an American seeing this. Like I said earlier, like the decline of America's reputation.
And here in the epicenter of this continent, we do believe that we need more growth, we need more stability in this world. But we do prefer respect to bullies, we do prefer science to plotism, and we do prefer rule of law to brutality.
Wow.
We stand firmly with Greenland and Denmark and fully support their unique right to determine Greenland's future.
Yeah. Yeah, that was honestly like pretty cool seeing Europe's response to Trump threatening Greenland. Like a lot of European countries sent their military to Greenland, like to literally defend it with force. And that actually seemed to be something that Donald Trump understood and respected. And now Donald Trump is not talking about taking Greenland over by force anymore. So it kind of proves that that's the approach Europe probably has to take with Donald Trump. Like, instead of being cordial and wanting to talk, like, unfortunately, you have to just, like, meet action with action.
Our commitment to NATO's Article 5 is unwavering. So we're working with our NATO allies, including the Nordic-Baltic Gate, to further secure the alliance's northern and western flanks, including through Canada's unprecedented investments in over-the-horizon radar, in submarines, in aircraft, and boots on the ground, boots on the ice. Canada strongly opposes tariffs over Greenland and calls for focused talks to achieve our shared objectives of security and prosperity in the Arctic.
Yeah.
Full solidarity with Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark. The sovereignty and integrity of their territory is non-negotiable.
Yeah. Okay. So there were a couple remarks about Greenland. Trump has finally openly said he will not use military force on Greenland. Finally kind of like caved to that pressure, which is good. But obviously with Trump, you never know, one day to the next. But this was really, this was eye-opening. You certainly had a lot of world leaders and politicians getting up on this stage and openly talking about how they do not like what the US and Donald Trump has been doing. There's like, this was as blatant as it gets. This should be a huge wake-up call for Americans, American citizens, Donald Trump. Like, the world is pissed and understands that you guys don't have to rely on the US. You don't have to put up with us. For a long time you have, and it's been good for us, but I feel like a lot of Donald Trump's decisions are based on the assumption that the world will always need the United States. And that just isn't true. And these world leaders are openly saying that. So I think Americans should be very concerned based on these. I totally understand like why you're making these statements. It's bad for the United States, but I respect it, you know, and it makes all the sense in the world to me. You know, it's not good for me, but I totally understand that, and Europe has to do what's good for Europe. And yeah, so this was very eye-opening, really. So anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on some of the things that world leaders said about Donald Trump at this World Economic Forum. This got kind of crazy. And if you're interested in more videos like this, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.